all the decisions are fairly straightforward. The few that are tough seem to be exceptionally hard to make, and that's really what separates the good druid players from the great. So it's interesting and sometimes difficult to see when those opportunities even come up, but every now and then I am fairly surprised and impressed at how much of a non-standard play a player can make with a druid deck.
Yeah, I like the mirror match druid. Like, I'm hoping we get to see one between these two players, because that's where the small decisions really add up. Like the ones you can make on turn 3 or 4 just start stacking up. A trade you didn't make can also make a difference. The bluff, like the fact that both players are playing around combo up until a certain point where one of them pulled the trigger on going all in, whether it pays off or not, depending on the tells that you've had. It's a very big information game in that mirror match, and those two players are definitely capable of reading into their opponent's actions a lot more perhaps than maybe your average Hearthstone player, where they will look at a play and just figure out immediately, or at least think about all the implications, and because they both do it, they can bluff one another. And it's happened before. Dog bluff life coach in some cases with just going face. He had nothing. Life coach had to decide not to go aggressive right afterwards. It was just like there's a lot of those things happening in this matchup.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, Stancifka has, out of all the druid decks we've seen in Star Ladder and the Redemption side at least, he probably has the most non-standard druid list. Everyone else seems to be running very standard druid lists, and his had the Fel Reavers, which I think often doesn't actually make much of a difference, but if it's like druid versus druid or just druid versus a slow deck, it might make a big difference, and I think against Life Coach, it could be a big negative difference, because again, because of those tech cards, he's been known to run, like I think in the World Championship he ran like BGH in every deck and 2 BGHs.
Yeah, there were 2 BGHs. Yeah, one of the decks had, 2 of the decks had 2 big game hunters, I think. Yeah, so like the tech was super heavy. I mean, Stancifka is a really big advocate of teching. Like we see Reno Warlock. Last time I saw him play that deck, he was actually running RNG Owl and a Spellbreaker. Since he couldn't run 2 hours, he ran one of each. And that's very uncommon, right? It's kind of like a Harrison Ooze, but you see more Harrison Ooze than you see Iron Beak Spellbreaker. So both players are definitely on the teching side of deck building.
Alright, and they're both on the eating side of playing Hearthstone, so they got that thing in common as well. Looks like our players are just about ready to get into it here. Well, we talk about how these players always take a long time, but I think I've seen and cast a lot of Life Coach, and I don't think that's just like universally true. It just seems that in some tournaments, especially when there's a lot on the line, just playing control decks, it does seem like every single turn goes rogue, but it's not always the case.
Yeah, it's also not as bad as it used to be. I think he's run so many into so many of the same situations that he's already got those mapped out in some cases, which speeds up the decision making.
But these are probably decks that Life Coach is very used to playing. Every time I think of Life Coach, I basically think of Druid Paladin or your Warlock. So he's got things that he's used to playing. He's played them a ton. He has a lot of experience under his belt. Although you favor Stancifka, I think the information gap and Life Coach experience, I'm going to give him the slight edge. So I'm going to go against.
All right. Yeah, hedging your bets. How much do we put on that? A dinner? Next time we meet?
Sure, I guess. Why not?
I guess Griff doesn't want a dinner. Never mind that.
All right, well, we'll get into it here in just a moment. There's been quite a few delays. Sometimes it can be very difficult to schedule players, as matches don't always take exactly the amount of time you can expect them to.
I mean, I think Cher versus Stancifka would be a pretty fair handicap to give.
All right.
Do you have the artifact?
Of course, have the full house there.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Life Coach's stream, by the way? I mean, I imagine you don't have time.
Not really. No, I don't really watch it.
So, it's very interesting because it's all about the analysis, right? And he basically just bans anybody who's talking about anything but the game going on, which is a pretty amusing experience if you're spectating and not getting involved. Because suddenly you see somebody just go at it like talking casually about his life, right? Like they always do in chat. And suddenly he's banned. So you have a bunch of deleted messages showing up. And that's all there is. With the occasional
that's all there is?
comments about the game. Yeah, you have to actually go there to witness it, but it's beautiful.
Okay.
It's order on Twitch. I never thought I'd see it.
That doesn't sound so good.
Well, it's pretty cool. Well, it's pretty cool if you're spectating it, not if you're trying to interact.
I think there's some
imagine you
chance
don't
that like Life Coach's heat is gone or something. If he's wearing like a pretty heavy jacket for indoors and you just gotta blanket.
Oh god. Yeah, it's possible. I mean,
Alright.
it does
Just-
seem really cold.
Yep. Just in case this match has to go until the apocalypse, you know, just in case, it's better to
it
stay
might.
warm and be prepared, you know?
Life coach is laughing at our dank jokes, or maybe just with Stansifka. I mean, these guys play together all the time. They practice together, they know each other's tendencies, their weaknesses, each other's strengths, and that's something that I like, is they don't really have, you know, the advantage of knowledge over each other. Like, somebody doesn't scout better than the other, they actually play test with one another, like, directly. So it's gonna be nice to see these two guys duke it out. I'm pretty sure they're hyped about the win anyway. It's kind of like JJ winning against Life Coach at Insomnia. It's a win that he, not at Insomnia, that's a win that he really wanted to get. And likewise, I think Stansifka just wants to beat Life Coach. It's just to prove that he's at the top of his game as well.
Yeah, these players playing quite a lot of tournaments, but I don't actually remember too many instances where they faced off against each other. Maybe like one, maybe two in the past.
Yeah, it hasn't happened too frequently.
Alright, well here we go. It's going to be Secret Paladin versus Life Coach's Druid. Life Coach revealing Living Roots, Paladin Shredders. Very, very standard so far from the Druid lists.
Yeah, looks like a... I mean, the Living Roots is not something you see everywhere, though, right? Like, it's something that you see in many decks, but not necessarily as an auto-include. But we've seen it do a lot of
It's
work
quite popular,
with
yeah.
Drake.
I think it's more popular than not these days, actually. But it is a card that you absolutely needed in this game. Stansifka basically has almost the nuts, and you have to have that Living Roots up early in the board so you can actually challenge some of it.
Yeah, funny enough, the Repentance in Stansifka's hand is not half as bad as it might look.
Yeah, Druids are known for just having very big minions, and that is a little bit of a setback when it comes to playing around cards like Repentance, playing around cards like Mirror Entity. Just really one of the reasons why Tempo Mage is so strong against Druids.
So if you're Stansifka here, do you just go for Repentance into coin muster in case Aspirant comes out?
Well, that
Or
seems like
do you
very
set
good
up...
play.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean-
not sure what you're playing around, but on 2 there's almost nothing, barring Innervated plays and Aspirant.
No, I think you're right. I mean, it seems like as far as the board is concerned, the best play is the Shield and Minibot. But if you play a Shield Minibot and you run up against an Aspirant, you actually don't have a way to kill it, and that can be a bigger problem. So I'm a fan of this Repentance play.
It feels a bit early, but I think it might be for the best. Well, there is no Aspirant, but there is a Wild Growth.
Yeah, there's Wild Growth, there's Innervate. I mean, the ramp is starting to come through pretty full swing here.
Yeah, and the swipe already being Life Coach's hand means when Muster comes out, he's going to have the immediate answer, which is something you have to have. Living Roots would behave as an answer to that, but it also loses you the board where Swipe is a bit more work on that front.
No, I think you lose the board no matter what. I mean, if he plays the like the weapon, just the weapon alone over 2 turns while you have to swipe, it just clears the 2/1. So whatever happens, you'll lose the board with Muster.
Think about the saplings. I mean, you know what I'm
They're
really
not gonna
bummed
make
out
it
by,
anyway.
by the way? It's
What's that?
what I'm really bummed out by is that Blizzard has pushed Beast as a tribal thing. Pushed Tree Ants. Like, what's up with that? I feel like they're just missing out on the craziest and most awesome tribal they've got. No? Okay. I guess I'm the only one who likes little trees that fight.
I like little trees that fight, but you can't like have that many varieties and different types of trees, you know? Like, do you think like Ancient of War should be a treant?
I think Ancient of War, Ancient of Lore should be a treant.
Okay.
I think the saplings should qualify as treants. I don't think they do.
Ironbark?
I don't know. I like it should be. Yeah, sure. Why not? Just go all out. I like it. So you've seen the coin here if you're life coach, right? So there's no kings coming out. You can wait before you pop the swipe. You don't even have to worry about it at all.
Yeah, I think you just attack with Sapperling here. You're probably thinking this is like Avenge or something, and well, you see that it's not. So now you can do the Wrath for 1 hero power, or you can innervate out the claw.
Life coach is puzzled. He's like, is this competitive spirit? Like, he just doesn't seem sure.
It's either competitive spirit or repentance, so...
Yeah, the cycle is good.
Yeah, with that outcome, it seems like the cycle is the play to make.
Life coach must be asking himself, will he really repentance me on turn 1? You kind of want to leave one of those 1/1s up, right? Just to check for spirit.
Not really.
No.
Oh, now perhaps, yeah.
Now he knows what it is. 100%. So this Druid of the Claw.
He's not too happy about the situation though.
Yeah. This is why that play was so good from Sensifka on turn 1. Just denying everything that Life Coach does because he's got so many ways to deal 1 damage.
Well, Life Coach I think is looking for a shade. I think a shade is the nuts. A shade allows him to play the shade and the Druid of the Claw with the innervate. And the shade absorbing the repentance basically means absolutely nothing. But if he doesn't get anything close to that, he is going to be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I guess the Aspirant also could be something you don't mind losing, necessarily.
Yeah, but with the shade you don't even lose it at all.
Yeah, you might as well just get the shade, given the choice. But... is there another minion in that deck that... you could play in a position like this? Dr. Boom? I mean, it is giving you boom bots anyway.
Perhaps.
But, yeah. That's not quite it. That is not quite it. And now the second secret's coming out to give Life Coach a headache.
Yeah, it's becoming tougher and tougher. And that repentance, like, normally repentance is a joke. I think repentance is like that 5th light on the Christmas tree, you know?
Yeah.
You don't really need
put
that.
it there. It makes it symmetrical, so you put it in, right? But otherwise, you didn't need it.
Yeah, but in this game, it's making such a huge difference in the range of what Life Coach can actually do.
I will not hold back.
So he's trying to set up the best swipe. I think it's going to come down to next turn. You just attack with your hero power here, trigger whatever has to be triggered, and then maybe you just Drake, innervate swipe on 7. Get the best kill you can, then from there reevaluate with your top decks. Otherwise, things are looking a little bleak.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Life Coach's face tells the story of a broken man. Like, 1 mana for that effect? What is that?
Oh, the value. So much lost value there. Drake with 2 swipes and innervate.
And the Kings. I mean, you might shred instead, never mind.
I think you would Shredder instead because the problem with the Kings is a Keeper would be very effective. But if you make the read that a Keeper would be played instead of the Drake, you might go for it, but that seems senselessly reckless in the spot.
Senselessly reckless, yeah. That's a nice way to put it. And there comes this part, 1 turn too late, and Life Coach cracks a little bit of a smile at the irony of fate. He's smiling, but he's actually not smiling.
The other thing is, like, this is